Hey gorgeous, my name is Lindsay and today we are talking all about limited, outdated beliefs. So, what is an outdated belief? Outdated beliefs typically start when you're a little kid. They're not your fault, they're not anyone's fault. A lot of times they were picked up from parents, teachers, siblings who didn't mean you any harm. It just is. It just is what happened. And typically we all go through this. We all have beliefs that we pick up from our family that may not be serving us anymore. So I'm not trying to talk shit on anyone that you may have picked these up from. And I don't believe that anyone is bad. I believe that a lot of these beliefs are generational. Your parents believed it, their parents believed it, and so on and so forth. And so it's time to start recognizing, okay, that belief may not serve me anymore. So once you believe something is to be true, once you believe that something is true, you actually filter out the evidence to the contrary. Our brains are freaking ridiculous. We're going to get more into this later, but I want to go into what a limited belief is. So first of all, a belief is an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. Something one accepts as true or real, a firmly held opinion or conviction, something you hold to be true from your perspective. So a belief isn't necessarily true, it's just something that you think is true based on your own perspective, which is so interesting. And then limited just means confined within limits. So it's something that isn't serving you anymore. And it may have served you at some point in your life, but it's not serving you anymore. And this is good news because we can change them. So we'll get more into that later. But I want to share my main limited belief with you, and it was that I'm so unlovable. And I've talked about it before, probably in the thoughts and emotions episode. It's going to be right up here if you want to go watch it. But I picked this up in childhood. As a young child, probably up until 12 years old, I felt loved. I was happy, my family was great, and then boom, something happened and everything switched. My whole family went through depression. My dad changed. He turned into an angry, shitty guy. And my mom, she kind of got depressed and retreated a little bit. And it sucked. And I remember feeling like my dad didn't love me. And I remember so much love coming from my mom that it was overwhelming, and then not enough from my dad. Fortunately, it sucks because I developed this belief because of the male figure in my life. I didn't feel like I was getting love from him, and so then that affected my whole entire life. And I believe that I was unable, just like I was saying earlier, if my thought was I am so unlovable, I'm going to filter out all of the evidence that says I am lovable. And it's this internal conflict because at one point I was like, I'm freaking cool. Like, I think I'm a cool girl. I think I'm relatively good looking. Maybe I always thought my body was holding me back because I was eating my emotions, and I gained a lot of weight over my lifetime. And so I thought that was the reason that I was so unlovable for so long. And so I hated my body and I hated who I was, and I tried to be someone different to make people like me. And it sucks because it's like we do all these things and we don't even realize that we are holding ourselves back based on the thoughts that we're thinking. So that definitely held me back. And even when I found the most amazing partner ever, my partner is amazing and we're so good for each other. And even when I found someone, I was like, oh my God, I'm still not loved. And it wasn't until I learned how to truly unconditionally love myself that I started breaking down this limited belief and being able to see love from other sources. And if you want to learn more about how to unconditionally love yourself, it's going to be right up here, my 5 ways to learn how to love yourself unconditionally. So I want to share some common limited beliefs with you. And I want you to try this on. If you think this thought, or if you recognize this thought, it might be holding you back. And first of all, awareness is the first step to personal development. Becoming aware that you even have these thoughts, that's the first thing. And then you can start working on them. So here's some common limited beliefs. And I got this off of a tinybuddha.com article that I'll link in the show notes. The first one is, I lack motivation. I procrastinate too much. I don't have time. I don't have enough resources. It's too late to change. I have too many responsibilities. I have no clue who I am. I have no clue where to start. I can tell you that I have definitely had some of these thoughts, and we talk all about being able to answer the question, who am I, in the last episode. But these are things that hold us back, and they're very common. And a lot of times, if you haven't watched the Thoughts and Emotions episode, go check that out. But we learn in that episode how 95% of our thoughts are unconscious. So that's kind of the hard part with limited beliefs, is we're thinking these things. Our brain is not showing anything that's contrary to that. So then you really affirm that it's true. And then when you become aware, like when I became that I'm so unlovable thought, I was like, oh my God, I was holding myself back, and it sucks. And it's not very fun when you feel this way, but it's good because then you're aware of it and now you can do something about it. So our brains are so freaking crazy. And there's this system that we have called RAS. It stands for Reticular Activating System. And this is a bundle of nerves at our brain stem that filters out unnecessary information so the good stuff, the important stuff, can get through. And I'm going to link an article about this, but I just want to share some interesting facts about RAS. So RAS takes what you focus on and creates a filter for it. Only the pieces that are important to you. So the way that I understand it is that we constantly have so much information coming to our brains, and there's no way that we could possibly go through it all. So our brain creates filters based on the way you think, based upon your perspective, based upon outdated beliefs, based upon how you grew up, based upon how you think unconsciously. So I know that's a lot of information, but it's like it's only taking in the filters that you've placed in your brain. And RAS will actually seek information that validates your beliefs. It filters the world through the parameters you give it, and your beliefs shape those parameters. If you think you are bad at giving speeches, you probably will be. And if you believe that you work efficiently, you probably will. And that is wild. I mean, we've all experienced this. There's so many times where I'm like, I can't do that thing. And then I see all the reasons why I can't do that thing. Now, what if we flip it and we're like, I can do that thing? Well, it works in our favor that way too, because and this is where affirmations come in. This is where working through limited beliefs come in. But we have to realize that you may have been thinking this limited belief for 30 years, because a lot of our beliefs are formed when we were little kids, like 4, 5, 6 years old. So first of all, it's been a long time. Second of all, it's automatic. It's unconscious. We don't even realize it until we start having awareness, until we start really paying attention to our thoughts, until we slow down. Meditation is a huge way to work through limited beliefs, and I talk all about that in the meditation episode. It's fascinating to me that your brain will literally seek out information that validates your beliefs. This is why if you think money is the root of all evil, you'll see powerful people with money being evil. But you won't see the good people with money who are doing good things with their life. It shows you what you want to see based on your beliefs, which are typically unconscious. This is like blows my mind. It makes me so excited because it's like, whoa, this is where retraining your brain comes in, because when you realize your brain's working for you. So RAS helps you see what you want to see, and in doing so, it influences your actions. So by using the power of intention, we can actually use RAS to our advantage, and RAS will reveal the people, the information, the opportunities that will help you achieve what you're trying to achieve. So if you're creating new beliefs and you set the intention and you really work hard on it, your brain will start seeing all those things. And I think this helps with manifestation, especially for people who are very logical. It's like, okay, and you can do your own research, obviously, but you can Google all about RAS, and then you realize, wow, like I can actually use my brain to my advantage, and here's how I want to retrain it. And then it will start showing you all of the things to help you get that thing, because your brain wants you to succeed. Your brain wants you to be happy. Your brain wants to do whatever it is you're wanting to do. It wants to assist you. It wants to help you. So when we learn to take advantage of that, that's when shit gets good. So this is such great news that we can change, we can do things different, we can adopt a new way of thinking. So Here's an exercise on how to work through limited beliefs. Like I said earlier, the first step is awareness. So now that you've listened to this video, you're probably going to start paying attention to some things that you think. And whenever you come across a limited belief, something, an I am statement, if you say like, I am a loser, I am this, I am that, typically that's a limited belief. So then you're like, oh, boom, I found a limited belief. So now the next step is to write it down, right? I'm going to use my limited belief. So I would write down, I am so unlovable. And your brain views things differently when it's on paper. For me and my experiences, when I've done this, it's like, oh, well, wait, that's not true. Like, I am lovable. I am nice. I am kind. I care about people. I try to make people's day. You write all the reasons why that's not true. You put that thought on trial. You try to dig in, like, wait, what? You basically try to find the things that make that statement not true. And because remember, when it's in your head, Raz is working for you for that belief. So you're only seeing the things that support that belief. But when you put that belief on paper, your brain views it differently. So you can start seeing the things that are contrary to that belief. And you write. If you get to the point where you've written out a whole paragraph or whatever, and you still think that thing, if it's still like, I still feel like this is true, put that belief on someone else. I use my sister. I'm like, Kelsey, you're so unlovable. Oh boy. Like, as soon as I write that down, it's like, don't you freaking say that about my sister. She is lovable because of this, and this. And then you write. When you have it on someone else, you can totally find ways that that's not true. So when you're done with this exercise, a good thing that you can do is read what you wrote and record yourself on an audio. And anytime you have that I'm so unlovable belief, you're like, no, and you put that audio on and you listen to it. And you may have to do that 100 times. You may have to do that 50 times. You may have to do that 20 times, whatever. Like, you may have to do that a lot of times before you actually believe it's true. But this is a great way that you can utilize your brain and start changing your beliefs. And like I said, it's hard. It's not easy. I think what I've heard is that it takes like 30 days to create a new habit. 30 days isn't that long, right? Like, you can do it consecutively. And when you're trying to change a habit, that's where it gets a little hard, because at 30 days, supposedly both of those, the new belief and the old belief, are at the same strength. And it takes 60 to 67 days for this new belief to get higher and to become more automatic. So when the new belief becomes automatic, then you've gone through it, but that's 67 days. It's over 2 months of consecutively being like, I am lovable, I am this, I am that. And then after that time, then you'll actually believe it. So there's still moments where I'm so unlovable pops into my head, but as soon as it does, I have that awareness, and then I'm like, hell no, get out of here, belief. Like, hop off the thought train and get onto a new one, because F you, I'm not thinking that anymore. So it still totally comes up, and there's still some days where I get sucked into it. But having that awareness and training your brain, I've been training myself for months and months to work through limited beliefs and to change my way of thinking. So it does take time. And just remember that a lot of these beliefs you created as a child. Like, you wouldn't be thinking, you don't think the same way that you did when you were 5. You don't have the same survival instincts that you had. Like, you are not the same person that you were when you were 5 years old. And it's time to change. It's time to start going through and assessing, what do I believe? Like, what is true for me? Who do I want to be? What do I want to do with my life? And a lot of times our old beliefs, they're outdated and they're holding us back, and we need to change them. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with the fact that you have been thinking this way. Believe me, I feel like there's these emotions that can rise up, especially when you're trying to change them. And they can be like, look at you with your shitty thoughts. Like, how could you be thinking that for 30 years? It's ruining your life, blah, 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 blah. You're such a loser. Like, you can get into this spiral sometimes. And that's why writing it out on paper, journaling about it, listening to an audio, like, it takes time. You're not going to just, write it out and be cured. It takes time to do these things. So just realize that we have a choice. We have a choice to change our belief system. We have a choice to change the way that we're thinking, and awareness is the first step. You set intentions and start using RAS to your favor. Oh man, it's so nice. Like, I've experienced this where it's like, I personally feel like we have an option in every situation. I believe that life is neither good nor bad, it just is. This is a new belief that I've adopted, and I believe it to be true. It may not be true for you, and that's okay, but for me, I don't want to think that there's good or bad. It just is. And that's a way better way of thinking than I used to think, because I don't want to think bad thoughts or bad things. Like, ew, that doesn't feel good to me. But when I experience something, it's like, okay, Lindsay, like, what are you learning from this situation? How is this making you grow? How is this transforming you into a better person? What can you take from this situation that may not be fun? It may not feel good. I'm not saying that we're going to go around and be like happy all the time, but we can choose the way that we think, and we can choose to believe new beliefs, and we can choose to think differently. And that's all that I'm trying to share, is a different way of thinking. And the fun for me, I like rules. I like, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. But I also like being creative and being like, I'm going to take that. Like, that's why I love learning, because you could take one thing from this video and apply it to your life, and your life will change. You don't have to take everything. Just pick and choose the things that you want to try it on, see how it feels, see how you like it. And that's a beautiful thing about personal development, is at least in my own experience, I have seen results so quickly. So freaking quickly. It's amazing. So I hope that you remember to have an attitude of curiosity, wonder, and compassion for yourself when you're on this journey. And props to you for even listening to this video, for striving or being curious about change, for being curious about a new way of thinking, because curiosity is amazing, and we've lost that along the way. We've lost our imagination. We've lost our curiosity. I freaking love imagination, and I am living my best life. Every single day is the best day ever, because I choose to believe differently. So if you like this content, make sure that you subscribe, follow me on social media. I am Way Society. Way is spelled W-A-I. If you're a hairstylist, I've got a little freebie for you. It's my 5 ways to make more money behind the chair. And if you're someone who's been interested in balayage but maybe don't know if it's right for you, I have a guide for you as well. And if you're in the Austin area, it includes a gift card for you. So next week, we are going to be talking all about how to dissolve the past and to not let it haunt you anymore. I'm really excited about this one, so I hope that you stay tuned, and just remember that you are perfect exactly as you are, and I hope you have a wonderful day, gorgeous.